Okay, welcome to the rest of my life. Heading back to work after not winning the goddamn lottery. Oh. Okay, let's see here. This weekend went by so damn fast. Alright, let's see what CDs I have with me. Number 1, Best of Foghat. Bruce Dickinson solo record, Balls to Picasso. A Bob James and Kirk, how do you pronounce that? Whalum record? I can't read it very well. Bob James is a piano player. Kirk Whalum is a saxophone player. Alright, Oliver Nelson, The Blues and the Abstract Truth. Die Fantastischen Vier, Vier Gewinnt. Michael Franks, Tiger in the Rain. This is called All Scars. I think it's various people who were signed to the Discord label. This is a band called the Society of Rockets. Something I picked up at a library book sale in bulk, you know. And that's it. Alright. Now. Oh dear. Oh my god, some pretty blooms on those. I guess they're crepe myrtles. Alright, where's my list of shit? List of topics. Got a lot of topics today. Alright, number 1 on the list. I forgot to mention this last time, but I found out last week before last, that a guy I graduated with is now a grandfather. And kind of threw me for a loop. I wonder how many other people my age are grandparents now. That's really odd. I don't even know what to say about that. Both of my kids are committed to not having children. That's partly due to my wife and I telling them for years that the world is going straight to hell, metaphorically, and you don't want to be saddled with children when the great calamity befalls us all. Alright, next. Okay, I'm not a fan of the comedian Bill Hicks. I know that for some people he is a hero and a messiah-like figure up there with George Carlin. I like George Carlin, but I don't idolize him to the extent that some people do. Bill Hicks, I don't like. I don't like people who I don't know how to put this. Anyway, but I did read an interesting quote by him talking about how life is like a ride at the amusement park, and everybody thinks it's real, but it's actually just a ride. And I was trying to get my mind around exactly what he meant by it, because he winds up with this pitch for universal brotherhood at the end of it. And, you know, if we just change, if we just put our minds to it, we can change the ride. But I was thinking about I was more interested in it from the quote from the standpoint of how none of us can actually perceive ultimate true reality. it's all just filtered, through screens of perception. And it goes to, there's a video going around right now called "Is Mathematics Invented or Discovered?" And what they mean by that is mathematics just yet another system, another filtration system like language? Or is it a pure thing that exists? Whether we, if we use mathematics, are we apprehending reality as it really is? And I don't buy that argument. I think it's just another screen. And one of the reasons I believe that is because number one, because you have to use some numeric base, and that's going to change how you appear. If you're using base 8 or base 10 or even a binary system, it's going to affect how you see things. And also because ultimately, even if ultimately it will force everything into a dichotomy, and all dichotomies are false. All right. Anyway, getting a little off track here. What's next on the list? Oh, the lottery. Yeah. Nice one. I really, every time you buy a lottery ticket, you really think this is going to be the time. This is going to be it. You start planning. It's like in Fellowship of the Ring, when Gandalf is explaining to Bilbo why he can't take the ring, and he says, "Understand, I would use this power for good." And it's like, if I won the lottery, I'd use it for good. So therefore, the forces of the universe should give it to me. I wouldn't do evil with it. Oh, Jesus. What else is on the list here? Oh, political content of art. I watched this, watched part of a documentary last night about Picasso's last years, his last works. And it had a clip from John Berger criticizing Picasso in his later years, because there used to be something. His work used to mean something. There used to be meaningful themes in it. Picasso was nominally, at least, a communist or communist leaning, and I think John Berger was at one time a communist. And it's the same argument people made in the early 70s when the Rolling Stones moved into the jet set, and some people got pissed off because their work used to mean something. They used to be for the revolution, man, and now they're making money. And I just don't see why art has to mean anything. I don't see why art has to have an undertone of political commitment or social activism. my work has zero meaning. Any meaning it does have is idiosyncratic. Shit, I could have made that light if I'd been quicker. But to criticize Picasso because, you know, he used to produce great works of anti-war protest like Guernica. I can't pronounce it. Guernica. And now it's all about sex. Old man, dirty old man. Oh, God, give me a break. How can you eat a bowl of soup when people are starving? Yeah, that's another thing. I think it was on. I watched a video about linguistics, how they were trying to track down the interrelatedness of all human languages and see if they could connect them up to some potentially original language. And I think that was the video that I read this comment on. Somebody left a comment saying, "What is all this science, this linguistic science, have to do with solving hunger?" And you know what? And the reply I left was like, "Oh, I see. So, you know, no science, no research, no curiosity has any valid validity unless it deals with the subjects that you think are the most important." I said, what about man's earliest impulses of curiosity? Like, I wonder what's over that hill. Okay, last topic on the list is haircut. In the last 2.5 years, I've only been to the barber once. I've had my wife cut it. And during the pandemic, when a lot of the barbershops were closed or severely restricted in what they could do, it was a necessity. But then, you know, things got a little looser, and I went to the barber, I don't know how many months ago it was, and they had raised the prices, I guess, to make up for all the money they lost. And I just felt sick paying that much to get a haircut. So, went back to having my wife cut it. And she was supposed to cut it, I think, last weekend or weekend before last, and never got around to it. And now I'm looking at it in the mirror last couple of days, and I'm like, you know, it doesn't look too bad getting a little shaggy. Might be my last chance to have something approaching long hair. I haven't examined it closely, but people close to me have pointed out that I have the beginnings of a bald spot on the back of my head. I don't like it. I don't like what it implies for the future. So this may be my last hurrah, so I'm going to let it go for a while. I used to have a ponytail a long time ago. When I was 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, I was overweight. I was fat. And around the time I turned 16, 15 into 16, I went through a transformation. Lost a lot of weight. And coinciding with that, my parents took my sister and me on this trip to Charleston, South Carolina, visited this aircraft carrier called the USS Yorktown that's parked there. And I met this girl there who worked at a concession stand. And she told me she had used Sun-In on her hair to get highlights, to lighten it up. And I was so intrigued by this idea that when I got home, I bought a bottle. And I looked on the bottle, and the active ingredient was peroxide. So I decided, why spend the extra money for the brand name when you can just buy peroxide itself, because it's pennies. So that started a whole era of me blonding my hair, turning my hair blonde. That coincided with my losing a lot of weight and becoming popular all of a sudden, especially with the ladies. And the people that ran the crazy Christian school that I went to did not like it at all. People in my family were very confused for the same reason. Boys don't dye their hair. That's a woman thing, and by extension, that's a gay thing. Word went around through my family, extended family. Lance has dyed his hair. So I went to see my grandmother one day, and she was looking at me very closely, turning her head from side to side. And I said, what are you looking at? She goes, well, I was looking to see if you got your ears pierced. Oh, yeah? She goes, well, I figured you dyed your hair, and now you're going to get earrings, too. Unbelievable. When I was around that time period, 16, 17, something like that, 17 years old probably, I think it was the starter went bad on my car. So my dad told me, look, go down to this auto parts store. I have an account there. And trade in the old starter and get a new one. And your grandfather will help you install it, right? He'll oversee you doing the work. So my grandfather and I went down there to the auto parts store. And the guy that ran the place knew my dad and knew my grandfather. So I'm standing at the counter, and the guy behind the counter says to my grandfather, so this is your grandson? He goes, yep. He's got a sister. She should have been born the boy, and he should have been born the girl. They really thought I was a sissy. I mean, they just... I don't know, doesn't like to fish, doesn't like to put a worm on a hook, doesn't like to play sports. What's wrong with him? Doesn't like to tinker with engines? Oh, dear, dear, dear. I did not want to go to work. I hate my job. I really hate the post office. I hate it. Started a new painting this weekend. It's going to be good. I can feel it. It's going to be good. I always have trouble finding stuff to listen to on YouTube while I'm painting. And I decided, let's look up BBC documentaries. And I found a whole string of them. And the first one was the thing about linguistics. And this is pretty good. Maybe this is going to be the new path forward. I can listen to these. So I started going through the others. Crap. Just crap. I hate historical documentaries where they don't really care so much about giving you facts or going through the history and saying, this is what happened. No, we want to use our big budget to hire a bunch of actors to wear skirts and pretend like they're carving stone to build the pyramids. For 10 long years, Neferhestu worked at the stone. Watch him wipe the sweat from his brow. Alright, we're approaching the end of the episode. God, I hate Corvettes now. Alright, I guess that's about it. Thank you very much for listening. Bye-bye.